Hello students, very good evening. Hope all of you can hear me very well. Students are slowly joining in, so we will start the class within a couple of minutes. Yeah, recording is also got started. Can somebody confirm that my line is clear and it's not any disturbance there? Because it's heavily raining here.
Yes, sir.
Because, all right, okay. Because it's raining here, that's why I just asked you. All right, cool. Okay, right. Okay, guys and girls, we will start the class from where I stopped the last class. I will just give you a quick reminder of what we have learned in the previous class, really. Then I will start from there onwards. You know, we have been practicing HTML. Now, a couple of classes we have been spending on this learning HTML. When we take websites or web pages, you can see like you can go to here like if you take a look at web pages. Now, these are some photographs that I'm showing you. These are samples of web pages or websites which are designed or created using technologies, not only HTML, but also HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap. These things we can put together and we can create or we can design very nice designs like this. Any of these designs, if we take the base, which means the skeleton, we have to create using HTML. First, once you create using HTML, on top of HTML, we can use CSS codes and we can make it beautiful. Okay, so the basic two things that we have to properly learn first is one is HTML, the other one is CSS. Okay, right. So CSS, if forms are finished today fast, I will be starting CSS lessons for you. So which is going to be very interesting for you people to do. And the practical assignment will be quickly coming up, and you will be able to do the practical assignment once I finish up to Bootstrap part. Okay, right. If I'm not wrong, today is our seventh session. That means we're going to spend the seventh hour today. Seventh hour on this one, right? Okay, right. Without further delay, let's get started. So this is the output that we are having from the previous class, which we were using last class, right? And if I show you the code in here, right, you can see my screen is already shared. All of you may be able to see my screen. And if you take a look at the HTML document, we have inside HTML, we have things called tags like this. Each tag is responsible for creating a type of element in the web page. For example, this is a heading size 1 heading. So this is the one which is doing that, right? We have been practicing that for so long. We don't need to again and again tell you that. And when it comes to creating HTML forms, because you know, you would have plenty of times you would have seen when you want to do something, when you want to get some details, or when you want to log in, especially maybe Gmail, maybe like Hotmail, whatever it is. If you want to join in or if you want to log in, you will have to type username, password, and then you will have to click buttons and so on and so forth. When you want to do such kind of operations, we make use of HTML forms, right? So even if you go to a e-commerce type of a website, we make use of HTML forms, right? So here we have a text field like thing where you can enter something and search. If you're looking for, like, say, used TV, let's say you are looking for a used TV, you can type that one inside a text box, then you can do search. But only thing is it's been made, it is formatted using CSS, so it looks really nice. So here you will see advertisements for TVs, okay, and related things will be appearing here. Okay, that's just a short example for you. And if you go for something like, let's say if you go to daraz.lk, and here also we got things where you can do here. It's also providing you a search bar where we can enter something and we can search, right? Okay, so there have been some links here, right? I don't know, for some reason, some stuff are not loading. So we are not interested in everything, okay? Right, let's go and we can build our web page. So please don't worry when our web page is looking like this. After you learn properly the CSS, and if time permits, I will teach you the basics of graphic design, which means I'm not going to teach you Photoshop and other things, but there are fundamental of graphics designs are there. So some tips, right? So where you can make your websites look very professional and very colorful. All right. Having said that, let's move on. Okay. Right. I have been creating my HTML forms like this, right? First, we have to include the form tag. Inside that, there are two important attributes that we add. One is called action and the other one is called method. Action is needed for the backend coding. So when you take a website, the website is always consisting of the front end and the back end. Actually, the backend code part, it is not going to come in our course now, but every website, when you're building and uploading, or when you're building and setting it up, it is going to have a front end as well as a back end. So backend basically will provide a lot of functionality, and you don't know actually what is happening inside the backend. You means the user doesn't know what is actually happening in the backend. I'll tell you a simple example here. Let's go to Daraz.lk again, right? So Daraz.lk. And you know, Daraz.lk is having a database of advertisements. It has a lot of advertisements there. And I'm going to look for something here. All right. I'm going to look for something here. So once I type something, once I type and once I search that, I will get the items here. So I'll type something like Arduino. Arduino is like which you can use for building electronics projects as well as robotics if you are building. Let's say Arduino Uno. I'm looking for an Arduino Uno. Let's search for that. I press the enter key on my keyboard, and after a couple of seconds, you can see all the Arduino related advertisements are popping up in my screen. So what has actually happened is, in this screen, what I entered, and when I click the enter key or when I press the search here, this value is given to the backend, which is not accessible by us. If I'm the user now, I don't have any access to the backend, except I type the value here and search. So it searched the details in the database, and it provides me all the information in the screen. So if I'm interested in buying something, or if I'm interested in getting more information about something, I can click on an advertisement and do further things, right? So that's about it, right? So I don't want to take you further than that, right? All right. Let's go back to the code, right? So now, guys and girls, here you can see I have created something called a label, and you can see here in the output. These are the labels. There is a reason why I have them inside label tags, because after I start teaching you about CSS, using CSS, we can beautifully format this labels so it will look very pretty in your web page. Okay, for that reason, I have created. Okay, after that, I will quickly talk about the input tags, because already around 7 minutes gone. Now you can see input tags are used to create the elements in your form. Like if you want a text field, if you want a password field, if you want numbers, if you want etc etc. Now all these things I just copied and pasted, but they are text fields, they are text boxes, right? So they will allow you to type text, letters, numbers, as well as symbols. All these things are possible. Okay, and here we have used a placeholder as well. I hope you have practiced this, or at least you would have gone through the pages what I have given. If anyone is here just coming to the classes and just listening and going, it's up to you. If you are just learning for a knowledge, that is fine. But if you really want to take it up and you want to be able to build a web page up to at least some kind of a decent looking website, if you want to build, or if you want to make the web pages looks nice, you have to practice along with me, which means after I finish this one, every day I give you this class program codes I give you, plus you have the videos, and on your own speed you can pause the videos and you can practice them, right? So HTML is a very easy language to learn anyways. All right, having said that, let's move on to this part. Okay, today I will send all the files. Okay, there was a student asking whether I can send the files. I will send all the files today. Again, for that, no problem. Again, boys and girls, listen up. What I want to tell you is, this part is how I showed you to create a drop-down list box, which means you can see here, we have a preferred language choice. So this is a component drop-down list boxes. If you want to create, you can create it using HTML select tag. Okay. The difference between a drop-down list box and a list box, the difference is, in the drop-down list box, you can choose from a dropping down list, only one item can be chosen at a time. But with the list item, you can choose multiple items if you like. That is the difference between list items and drop down list items. Okay, so this is how you create them. Okay, so without further delay, let's go to the last one where we learned how to create checkboxes. This is all what we did last class, so I don't want to spend too much of time in that. So when you want to create checkboxes, you will be creating checkboxes when you have a list of options, but out of a given option list, if you want to only select one, few, many, or all of them, you can make use of checkboxes. Right, okay. Right, next one we will do today. I'm going to show you how you can create something called. Now, this tag we will discuss a little bit now. There is a tag called HR. If you type HR in your web page, you will get simply a horizontal line like this. So this is an indication that we can have a separation in somewhere. So I just wanted to add it here. So it will be looking a little bit clearly visible to you. That's why I've added a HR tag there. Right. Excuse me. Now, next one I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something like this. I'm sorry. So input type is assign the value text, right? Please be advised that it's heavily thundering and lightning here. We might experience a power cut. So if there is something, then I will have to drop a message to your coordinator. Let's pray for the best. Nothing happens like that. Okay. Okay. Please. Right. Nice. Input type. So I'm going to use something called here radio. So what it means is when you create a radio button, right next to the radio button, I can put something like a very typical example, like selecting our gender, male, female. So we can do that, right? Like this. Okay. Right. Actually, if you put something like this, right? And, you know, we have to put a label here saying that we'll say select your gender. Okay, select your gender. And if I don't want a BR tag, of course, I can use something like this. So when I reload this, so I get my selection like this. Select your gender, and it says male and female is here. So I can choose things like this. There's a reason for that. Though it looks like that, we need to use something like name tag here. Okay, name tag here. And we have to give a group name, which means I will give something like gender. And see here, again, I'm typing the same name. Again, I will give gender. So if you check the spellings here, GENDER, simple letters, same spellings used here, which means the computer will make a group of option buttons, or in other words, the radio buttons. It will create a group. The characteristics of radio buttons in a group is only one radio button can be selected from the group. So when I add the name attribute and when I give the same name for all the radio buttons, all these radio buttons belongs to the same group. So out of that group, only one item can be chosen. So that's what we need to understand, right? All right. So that is what is about. I hope you understand that how to do. Right. Then we put another one. We'll put another HR tag here. Okay. And the part is also done. And I'll show you one more thing for you. Let's say if we have to include something like your comments. If you like to give something like your comments, you can give like this. Let's say we say label. Let's say enter your comments. Here, I'm going to show you, there is a tag now. We learned about the input type radio button, input type checkbox, input type text box. So here we don't use the input type, but we use something called text area. Okay, so watch this. I type text area. So if I select this one, automatically it adds some values here. So for the time being, you can see it is adding name, ID, and columns and rows, right? So we will keep the number of columns and number of rows without any changes, but for the clarity, we will delete these two attributes. All right. And when we reload this, you can see there is a big text field like this comes. Okay. The thing about this is you can type multiple lines. For example, if you say line 1 of comment here. Okay. Right. So you can have multiple lines of comments like this if you want. Right. So this is possible for you to have. So that is why this is called a text area. Right. So this one will not allow you to type multiple lines, but this one will allow you to type multiple lines. Okay. Right. So that's about it. That is about how you can create a text area. Okay. So then we will change these two values and see. After you learn CSS, you can take more control over this. But at the moment, we will use these things and see. Now, columns means the number of characters you can type across from this side to this side, how many characters are permitted. So if you give a small number there, guys, there was a huge, huge lightning. I went up and came, I'm sorry. So the mouse also got stuck for a while. Are you still listening to me? Can you hear me well, students? Hello. Please
Yes,
confirm.
sir, can hear.
Okay. Okay. Right. Make a wish that everything goes fine. Okay. Bismillah. Well, here we go. I was going to change this value. See, I'm going to just put a small number here. Let's put 5 columns and I'll reload this. Let's reload this. See, it is a very small 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, I can't type further. Right? Okay. Nice. So that is when you reduce the columns. And we will keep some value, something like number of columns we'll give around 20. Rows we will give few number of rows, right? Let's say 5. Then you will get something like this, right? So this kind of a thing is possible. Right. So that is about the text areas, right? So without let us move on to the next one, right? Okay. So that is about it. And we'll put one more thing. I'm going to type something like this now. Let's assume you want to type something sensitive information, which means like, let's say we are expecting someone to type a password or something like a credit card number or something which you want others not to see, right? So in case of that kind of information you want to type, we can use something called password fields, right? So let's input something like this. We'll put a label and say enter your password. So let's say enter password. So again we use input, right? Input, but here type we say password, not text. Okay, we say input password. Then what we're going to do is if I reload this now, okay, look at the page. I mean, I reload this. I don't know whether it is visible to you. I can take it down a little bit. I have already taught you this tag for you. Free tag, right? Now I can scroll a little bit up so you can see it in the middle of the screen. Enter your password, right? So here inside this one, let's see whether you can tell what I'm typing here, right? I typed a 6-digit password, right? 6-digit password. This doesn't actually give a huge amount of protection. You need to take care of some other coding work as well. But you know what? If I type, so actually I typed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is ABC 1, 2, 3. I'm typing. you can't see the password, right? So this gives you protection only over the shoulder password copying, which means while you are typing your password in this computer screen, if someone is secretly watching your screen, then they can't see what you're typing. That kind of a protection only they have, right? So if I right click on this, and if you go to inspect, and there's a small way to hack this one, watch this. In order to do that, right? So if you want to see this password, here it says input type password, double click this. I'll show you once more how I did. Select the component, right click, go to inspect, and a code will open. This is the code that we wrote. So it says input type password. Just double click on password and type text there and press the enter key, and you will be able to see the password here, right? Like this. So there is not much protection like that. So if you happen to see someone's password stored in a computer, in which way you can reveal the password, right? So don't do it for any bad work, but that is possible. All right. Okay, when the page reloads, again, it is masked, right? Okay, so that's how you create a password field. I think that is enough about a password field. All right, let's do further things. Right. Now I'm going to show you how you can create how to create a field where you can type only numbers, right? Let's type input type, we'll say number, input type number, and let's give it a purpose for that label. Enter your, let's say, age, for example, right? So no one will expect you to type your age. Like if you are 15 years old, you won't type like, I want to type something like 15 here. 15 years old. You can type like that. So in words, that's fine. But you are simply allowed to type something like 15. Okay, that is allowed like this. And by default, it will have an up and a down key or arrow. If you click on like this, and if you click down, 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 it will reduce, right? So it will go to 0 and it will go beyond that value as well. One person is asking, password එක type කරාට පස්සේ show me password option එක හදන්නේ මොකද්ද sir? That is, you do from here, go to your browser settings and you search for passwords. Then it will start to, if you go to password manager, it will ask you to show if I click on it, will show all the websites that I have logged in. I don't want to do that. So you can go hit your password manager and you can reveal the password and see in a computer. That's also possible, yes. But here I did with right clicking and selecting inspect. Then I went here, the code that you are, the code that is responsible for creating this component is selected here. Simply double click on password there, change it to text. Then it will reveal the password for you. That's what I showed you. If you didn't understand, that's what I did. All right. The next one we will do, which is the numbers. So it is allowing you to take negative values as well as positive values like this. So then there is no upper limit and there is no lower limit. So which, if you want to say the minimum age value should be something like, let's say 5. So you say min, assign the value 5, and max, assign the value, let's say the maximum age limit for entering into this maybe it's a competition, let's say 40 is the maximum age, right? So if you reload this, enter your age. So you can type something like 60 here, but it's not going to work, right? So you can type it, but it's not going to work for you. That disadvantage is there. You can type a number, but if you try going up and down like this, you can go up to 5. Beyond that, it will go. Beyond that, it will not go. And above 40 also, it will not go. But within that range, it is possible for you to do. All right. So that is about the input type number. Okay, let's try another one. Okay. I think that information is enough. Too much of details not necessary for you. You just can create and see. Anybody who loves to see more information about this, you can go to websites and you can learn about them and get a good understanding if you really want, right? So it's not necessary for us to learn too detailedly. Uh, well, give me a second, please. Okay, let's do the next one. I'll show you. You know, there are sometimes you want to choose your date of birth, or if you want to enter a date, right? So you can choose from a date controller, which is also possible. Let's say select check-in date. Let's say you're booking in a hotel. Say we want to put the check-in date, right? So we say input type. You can use, there's two options. One is date, the other one is date time. I don't want the time. I like to have the date only. Okay, right. Let's try that and see what's happening. See, so you get an option like this, select check-in date, and it gives you a value here. You can start typing, right? So month, date, and year. Or else if you don't like to type the values, you can simply click here, and this, what do you call that? Calendar control comes. So if you want to go for a previous month, you can go. It's in a checking, it's not useful to go for a previous day. But let's say in October, something like, let's say October 10th, you would like to check in, then click that, then that automatically comes here, right? It automatically comes there. But you can change this also. Select something here, and if you press the up key, it will increase. If you press down key, it will reduce. This is also the same. Up key, down key, you can do. Let's say we go up to which one? We can go to 1. Then again, if you go down, it starts from 12. Okay, it goes like a cycle. And you know, January up to 31st we have. So if you go up, 31st, and if I press one more, then it goes to the February 1st, but it's not February 1st. Here it is again January, right? So if it is February, then it will go up to 20. It's not a leap year, so it should go to 28. That's it. The part, it is having a bug. If you can fix that, that'll be great, right? So February 31st, I can have here. This is an invalid date anyways. So it's a small bug that we found out together. See, if it is a leap year, definitely this is not a leap year. February 29th, we can find out, right? Okay. So if you report this bug to the people who are making HTML and standards, that is will be w3c.org. Okay, w3c.org. Children, give me 1 second. Okay, my son didn't come from a tuition. I'll give a call and come. Just 1 second, please. Huh? Okay, thank you. We'll continue. Right. Right. So there's a bug, right? So if you want, you can report here. w3c.org. World Wide Web Consortium. These are the people who will be making standards for the World Wide Web and for the what do you call w3.org. They are the people who will be making standards for the web, right? Okay. If you, those who like to know more about this, go visit this website and find out. Okay, right. password එක type කරන්න තැන කොහොමද ආය එකක් දාන්න අපට password එක බලන්නේ. People are much interested in hacking, I think. මේක hacking නෙවෙයි, පොඩි දෙයක් තියෙන්නේ. Last time I'm showing, right? හරියට බලා ගන්න. සිංහලෙම කියන්නකෝ. මේක ඇතුළේ අපි type කරන වෙලේක mask කරලා තියෙන්නේ. හරි type කරන එක ඔයාලට පේන්නේ නැහැ. right, මම දැන් numbers ටික type කරනවා, okay? හරි. ඒතර පේන්නේ නැහැ නේ. ඔක බලන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් right click කරන්න මේකේ. ඊට පස්සේ choose කරන්න inspect කියන option එක. එතකොට මෙතන inspect elements වලින් option එකක් තියෙනවා මෙතන input type පෙන්නන්නේ password කියලා. already password එක තියෙන හින්දා right. so අපි ඒක change කරනවා. මෙතන click කරලා double click කරලා ඕක ටෙක්ස්ට් කියලා ටයිප් කරලා enter කරොත් එතකොට ඒක ඒ තිබ්බ තැන ඔයා ටයිප් කරපු value එක පෙන්නනවා එච්චරයි. හරිද? ඕකේ. ආයෙ මේක ගැන අහන්න එපා ඉවරයි. ඇති 3 times explain කරා. password එක වැඩි අවශ්‍ය නම් net එක ගිහලා හොයාගන්න. right? okay. හරි. right, so that's about this one, and so maximum minimum you can set in, that is number. Then we learned about the date also, right? තව පොඩි දෙයක් තියෙනවා ඒකත් කියලා දෙන්නම් ඊට පස්සේ ඉවරයි. So that is, I can show you how to set a, show you how to set a field list. Okay, so field list, we will see how to set. Right, let's say you can type, there's an option called field set, right? And you can press the enter key, and I'll save this one. Let's see, when I reload this, you get a box like this. Don't worry about the border. It is not very interesting border. If you like, with CSS, we can make it prettier. What you can do is, there is an option called legend you can give. And inside this one, we can type something. We can type the values there. For example, if I type, let's say, actions here, because I'm going to add buttons there. If I reload, you will see here, it's nicely comes that option here, right? So you can format this using CSS later, but this kind of a thing comes. Inside this, you can put your components and things if you like. For example, if I cut and paste these two things, let's take this whole set, okay? Right, so let's cut this and let's put it here. I will replace it again just after showing you. If I reload, you can see inside our legend, you in the field set, and using the legend, you can identify what this is about, and our components have come. So this is good if in a form, if when you're filling, and if you want to group things together, let's say you are collecting personal information, educational qualification, or if you want to say personal details, contact details, and check-in details. So you can do using field set options, right? Okay, so that's about it. Right, we will keep it as it is, right? So I'll press Control Z and Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. So it's back to normal. So when you reload that, it's back in place, right? So I'm going to show you how to add some buttons, right? First of all, let's see, there are 3 types of buttons in HTML. One is submit button, the other one is reset button, and finally you have ordinary just buttons. Okay, right, let's add them and see. You can type input, and instead of type here, you can create the first type of button. So first type of button is known as submit, and inside here you can give a value, right? So if you don't give the value, and when you just reload this one, what will happen is you will just get a button with the default text here saying submit, right? Let's say you have created a login screen, and if the button says submit, it's not very meaningful, or it's not very effective. Instead, you want to say login. So you can type value equals login, which will make the text into login. So you can type whatever you like here. Let's say a login, or we'll say book now, like that, or check in, or check out if it is a payment. All these things possible for you to do. Though it is not looking very pretty now, don't worry, still we didn't do the CSS part, right? So we will keep something simple there. We will keep it like login. Okay, login seems to be fine, so we'll put login there. Next one, we will put one more thing. We'll say input type. Earlier we learned how to create submit. Now we're going to create something called reset. Now submit button as well as reset button value, I'll put cancel. By default they have some functionality written to them. For example, if you type something, if you select something, if you type something, and if you select something, now I can go up and show you also, right? And what will happen is, right, let's put it to normal size. I'll increase a little bit so you can see the full form, right? You can see like this. Okay, and when I hit the cancel button, if I hit the cancel button, the form return to its original state, which means it will look like as it was earlier. By the time the web page loaded, how it was looking, it will go to that state, right? So watch this when I'm click on cancel. So the screen goes to the original state as it is just loaded. Okay, so that's what the cancel button does, or the reset button does. Okay, once more watch this. When I click cancel, this time we will zoom in a little bit, right? Okay, so because I have put values only here, I'm clicking on cancel. There we go. It resets the form, right? Just like it resets the things, right? So right, we can submit the form as. So if I click the login button, you can see at the very top of the coding, we have put a form and we have said action. We have set a program name which is called reg.php. That means register.php. We forward our values to reg.php file, these details. That part is not going to be done in this course, but that is backend coding, right? Okay, now if you click on this one, you will see okay, it is giving a value which is should be that one. And when I click on that, it says your file could not be accessed because it may have been moved, edited, or deleted, right? So anyways, it can't locate this file reg.php. So that file not found problem is coming, right? Because it's not in a server. If it is a server, we can do that, right? Okay, so that part we are not doing. So by default, it is there. But if you give the value like, now let's say there is a file called demo1. Demo1 can't do anything actually. So if you type demo1, when you click on this button, actually your form will go to demo1 like this. That's also possible, right? So this is not useful, right? Okay. So I will change this to reg.php once again. Okay, so that's about it. And we'll do one more thing, very last one. You can put just normal buttons as well. So input type button. Okay, so if you say input type button, you will get a blank button like this. Actually, this does nothing. This does nothing. Let's give a value to that. Okay, we say value. Let's say test. We give test. So when you reload, and even if you click that button, nothing will happen. How many times you click, nothing will happen because we haven't provided any code, right? So to make things bit interesting, let me put something there. Okay, right. Okay. So I will include a small JavaScript and show you how that button can work when you click on it. So when you want to include a JavaScript, you can put a script tag like this, and you can simply create a function. Let's say show details, right? So let's say show details, right? So I'm going to say, okay. So we're going to type a command here, say alert. Alert is a message box. Alert is a message box. Let's say, hi, everyone, like this. Now, if I reload the page and if I click the button, nothing will happen again. There is a reason. So actually, this piece of code I have written in JavaScript need to be linked with this button. Okay, it needs to be linked with this button. To do that, in the button here, this is actually not necessary for you, but I'm just showing you how it works. We can say on click, we can call this JavaScript. Oh, sorry. We can call that JavaScript. Okay, so that is simple as that. Name of the function you mentioned here. So when you reload this, and when you hit this, you will get a small box here saying that this page says, hi, everyone. So as the message box comes, so that is a functionality that you can build in your web page, right? So it's very simple. Or you can do, you can create another function because I'm giving this file to you. Let's say display text. Right, okay. So let's put something like this. I will put something here. Inside, okay, a form is here, right? No problem. After the form, I'll put something like this. I will teach you div tags later. So if you reload, you get a heading here, of course. It says this text will be replaced using JavaScript. So I will add another button here for you to demonstrate that. Okay, input type, let's say button. ID not necessary, name not necessary. We'll say value. We'll say change text. And I need to call the function when I click on that, display text. Okay, right. Or let's say change text. We'll call this as change text. Right, change text. So you say on click, sorry. You can call the function, right? So here we need to write some code in. So we say document dot get element by ID, and we can give the name that we gave. I could say in HTML. This is not necessary for you, and you can give a small HTML code h2 right? So let's click that and see if I click this, then it changes to, hey, we changed it using JavaScript. So this kind of work you can do if you know JavaScript. Okay, so that's what it basically does, right? Okay, so if you're having just ordinary buttons, we need to link them with JavaScript code so that when we click on that, we can do something useful for us. This is not very useful for us. This is just we are changing some values. You can do serious work out of that, but at the moment we are not trying that. Okay. But anyway, I'm not going to delete any of this code. I'm going to just as it is, I'm going to give you, right? So I think that is enough of HTML that we have learned, right? So we have done the basic codes. If you know how to create a heading, how to create labels, paragraphs, images, and if you want to add YouTube videos, if you want to put Google Maps, of course, if you can create HTML links. See, these are the major things that you should know about HTML, and I have covered all of those things for you, right? So this basic HTML lessons will be enough for you to continue working with the design. And this is not the end of the HTML tags, and don't think that all the HTML tags I have covered for you. No, it's not. I have covered the most important tags that is need to be learned. There are so many other tags will be there. You can learn them later. Okay, now what I'm going to tell you is, now we're going to start learning, or we're going to move on to the next part. So let us learn how we can make our web pages look nice, which means we will learn how we can create CSS documents and how to work with CSS, right? Okay, now you can see I have a folder called wc_web in the F drive of mine. Oh, well, if I go to the F drive, this is the drive you can see. So this is last week files I don't need, right? So these are my 3 folders, and these all are my HTML files. Don't know how many we have. Well, we have 11 HTML files are there. So end of today's session, I will be sharing all these things, right? So since I'm going to start CSS code, right? I'm going to select the whole thing. I'm going to right click and I'm going to compress them. So I will this time put it as zip file, right? So we'll compress them very well. So it will be okay. So we have this HTML files, right? So all these are HTML files. I'm going to share that to you. Yeah, I think you should be able to get that one. It is just 5.3 MB file. One student asked to download the files. I just gave you that in the chat window. Please download it, right? Okay, I gave that part, right? I'm deleting this part again. Now, in order to practice our CSS, right, I'm going to do a small change, right? I'm going to do a small change. Now, see what I'm going to do in my lessons. You can perfectly create another folder and you can open that from your what do you call, from your Visual Studio Code and you can work. Or else what you can do is you can create a new folder here and you can move all the files into that folder and you can work, right? How do you prefer me doing? Shall I set up a new project? I mean, shall I set up another project and shall we do? Or shall I create another folder and move it here and do it? We'll create another folder and do from scratch. It's easy, neither. Can you open your mouth and speak, please? Yeah, right. Okay. New one is better. Good. Right. So I'm going out from here. I'm coming to the F drive. Let's create a new one. Yes. Shuhada Fahim is asking. I will be getting, slowly I'll be giving those parts, right? So don't worry at the moment, right? So I'll give you that part when it is necessary. Okay. I'm going to create something like this for you. WC underscore CSS, right? So we're going to create something like WC underscore CSS. So here we have WC underscore web, that is for HTML. Once your batch is finished, I will delete this folder, okay? Right, so let it, for the time being, let it be in my F drive, okay? So I just have created a folder there, right? I'm going to close this one. And from my this one, what do you call, my Visual Studio Code, I'm going to go to File menu and I'm going to choose Open Folder. Open Folder. Once you choose that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the F drive and I'm going to choose WC underscore CSS. One double click. I'm inside that. So let's select folder. So it will be ready now. That folder is ready because we don't have any files there. It is just giving me a blank thing here, and it is saying, yes, I trust the authors. Yes, right. Okay. So you give permission there. And I think my VS Code have just got updated. So it is asking me to update this one, right? Restart should apply the latest update. Okay, let me update it and take it quickly. I think it should not take too long. Yeah, got it. It's coming back. Yeah. We got it back. Nice. I think we have the latest version, right? So we got the latest version. Now, students, as usual, first operating instruction I'll teach you, maybe around 13 minutes left. I think the first part is we're going to learn, right? I will do the small theory in the sense, I always tell you this. When you take the web development part, you have HTML and you have CSS. So when is HTML is to create the content. Last week also I told you. CSS is used to create the design, which means the formats. Okay, so we're going to learn how to make things look nice, maybe colors, maybe size, maybe setting fonts, even Google fonts. I'll teach you how to add them. Not only that, right, space between characters, borders, images, shadows, right, small type of interactive animations, these kind of things we will try. Okay, so we got I think web designing course we can do up to around 18 hours maybe. We will try. Okay, so the next part I'm going to teach you is this part, right? When it comes to CSS, right? So first thing we're going to learn is the operating instructions. Okay, can you give me just 2 minutes because the call for the prayer is going on. It's too loud here. Loudspeaker is very close. Just take about a 2 minutes break and we will continue. Okay, let's continue. Thank you very much for waiting. And one student left, all other 64 students are there, right? Okay. Anyways, students, when you want to include your CSS codes inside your web pages, it is, that student is back. Thank you. Well, when you want to add your CSS codes into your web pages, there are basically three methods existing: inline method, internal method, and external method. I'm not going to take too much of time explaining what is CSS and what it can do. And we can do a theory for about 1.5 to 2 hours, like, so no use, right? So directly we will get into work, how we can get started with CSS, right? Okay. First thing, CSS starts standing for cascading style sheets. Okay, so it stands for cascading style sheets. Cascading, right, style sheets. Cascading means one is mixing with another one. One is mixing with another one, then that mix with another one, then that mix with another one. It's like multiple small waterfalls getting into one and becoming a big waterfall. I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell, right? So that's what it says, the cascading. So you will understand when I'm adding multiple style rules to the web page. So basically that's it is. Without the HTML tags, CSS can't work, and CSS alone is not useful. And CSS is not a programming language, though it has small animations you can create. You can't do any programming work with CSS. Mainly it is used to create your web pages pretty. Okay, so imagine like you have your web page, which is like a cake, like, that's the best example we can tell, right? If this is just the bake cake, because we are running out of time, I'm not having detailed diagrams and all. If you have a cake and if you want to make a beautiful cake, you can put icing on top of it, right? Okay. Okay, superb. A bad time to show you. Awesome cakes are there, right? So we are getting not a raw cake, right? Cake. HTML files, someone is saying it didn't come. Can others confirm whether you got the files or not, please? Some one person, டக்குன்னு சொல்லுங்க, files வந்ததா இல்லையாண்டு. Files ටික හම්බුනා දැන්ද කියලා පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න. HTML files ටික ආවේ නැහැ කියනවා. Right. So one person is saying the files didn't come, right?
HTML codes வரல sir.
Yes, continue. HTML codes you didn't get? I sent you a zip file. Open ஆவுதில்ல sir. Open ஆவுதில்லையா? You need to have unzip. You have to unzip that. Right click and unzip. Okay, this is a small thing, guys. Let me send you that once again. Here I'm sending it.
HTML file வரல sir. Codes வரல sir.
Codes வரதில்லடா. இதுல open பண்ணுங்க. Open it in the NetBeans, not NetBeans. Open it in Visual Studio Code. Here I'm zipping the whole thing and giving you, right? I'm sending it here to everyone. I'm saying, okay, I'm sorry. I have selected a lot of files there. No, just one second, please. So how can I cancel that? Oops. Just cancel the whole thing. Right, here comes. There you go. Unzip and take it. Every code will be there. Once you go here, once you go inside your this code in, like file menu, go open folder, select that folder after unzip, like WC web, the folder, double click and select open folder. It will come like this. Then when you double click the file, you'll be see the code. See, it is there. Okay, so that's how you do it. I think should not be a problem. Let's go to our CSS one, right? So we have a few minutes left. Let me just show you the very basic part first today, right? In order to get started with, I'm going to create a new file, right? So let's say Demo 1 again. This is not HTML lesson. This is CSS lesson. Let's say demo 1. Just it is demo 1.html. Okay. Right. Let's create the basic HTML part for this. Right. And we'll say CSS operating instructions. Okay. Operating instructions. Let's go here. In order to practice this, we need a sample web page. Sample web page. Someone have said file is not opening. Sir, open ahalla, sir. A comment has come. Please check whether you can open it. කවුරු හරි ඕපන් කරපු ළමයෙක් කියනවනම් පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න ඕක ඕපන් වුණාද නැද්ද කියලා. zip කරපු ෆයිල් එක. සුලේහා?
open වුණා sir.
ඕපන් වුණා නේද? ෆයිල්ස් ටික තියෙනව නේද ඇතුලේ?
ඔව්.
ඒක unzip කරන්න තමයි තියෙන්නේ. நீங்க unzip பண்ணிக்கொள்ளுங்க. right click பண்ணி unzip பண்ணுங்க. Then you, inside that one the files will be there. சரியா? Okay. Right. So I'll show you the basics, right? Let's say we have a heading. I'll say sample heading. We put a chat tag. Let's say a paragraph. Paragraph. A paragraph, right? Right. And I'll put time is running out, guys. Let's put no time to waste. So let's copy this and paste once more. Right. So, and I'll have another one here. H2 tag. I'll type sample heading 2 here. So, right. So if I want to reload that, okay, let's reload it here. I was explaining about the cake and this one. If you take a look at this cake here, a beautiful icing cake, nicely it's been done. This icing work and the decoration have been done on top of the raw cake. Okay. So the normal cake will look something like this, if I'm not wrong. I can't find a real raw cake. Okay, so very maybe something like this. Okay, a normal cake without the icing. Excuse me, just give me a second. Right, let's move on to the lesson. Let's move on to the lesson part, right? Okay. At least let's try to do one part. I'm going to open this file again, going back to the F drive. I'm going to type wc_css and press enter key. I'm inside that folder. Let's open that web page. And this is the blank web page, how it looks. Okay. Before you wind up, I'll show you only the technique, right? So let's see how we can do that, right? You can do it in the first method, which is inline method. Inline method. That means when you want to include the CSS codes, if you want to include the CSS code, you can go. One person is again asking, open with another file. ඕක ඕපන් කරගන්න තේරෙන්නේ නැද්ද පුතා? ඕක zip file එකක් ඕපන් කරන්න තේරෙන්නේ නැද්ද ඔයාලට? 2013 වර්ෂනේ දින්න අපි මේ චූටි ෆයිල් එකක් ඕපන් කරන්න තේරෙන්නේ නැද්ද? මේ බලන්න. That much don't be so childish. මේ ෆයිල් එක හරිද? මේ ෆයිල් එක මෙම right click කරන්න. open with another file නෙවෙයි. මෙතින් open with දෙන්නේ නැහැ. මෙතන කෙලිම දෙනවා extract files. නැත්තම් Windows වල දෙන extract here කියලා option එකක්. extract here දුන්න ගමන් මෙතන හැදෙනවා files ටික මේ. මේ මෙතන override කරන්නද කියලා අහනවා. Right? I don't want to override that. මේ බලන්න මම මේ files ටික ඔක්කොම delete කරනවා දැන් delete කරා. මේක විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. right click ඊට පස්සේ extract files here. ඔය එන්න files ටික. එච්චරයි. කිසි ගේමක් නැහැ. ඒක simple. හරිද? දෙපිට තමයි සේර. Right? That's all. Right click, select, extract here. Hari. WinRAR අවශ්‍ය නැහැ පුතා. You don't need WinRAR because it is a zip file. It's not a other file. I just deleted this one. ඔන්න Windows වලින්ම zip කරා මේක. ආයෙ open කරන්න නැහැ කියන්න බෑ. ඔන්න දෙනවා දැන් file එක. download කරගන්නකෝ. හරි. ඒක unzip කරන්න. Okay, you can download that, right? Okay. Time is already passed, okay? So we will continue this CSS, how to do the part in the next class then, right? So get ready for the photography class. 1 minute or 2 minutes, I will be starting the class, right? Okay. If you are trying in the mobile phone, you can't do it. Ne? Mobile phone is not used for this file system. Ne? So file systems they are different. I thought you were doing it in a computer. Okay, anyway, let's see you in the next week, right? Practice well. So let's catch you all in the next class if you're coming for the photography class, right? Take care. God bless you all. See you next week, right? Bye.